we're going to do a little overview of what exactly Topaz and Numby are. We got about 2 weeks until they both release into Honkai Star Rail. Now keep in mind some of this stuff could very well change, as sometimes it does before it officially releases. Topaz and Numby are a fire element character aligned with the Hunt Path. As seen in the new story quest that was added this patch, Topaz is part of a det team with the IPC along with her partner, a warp trotter named Numby. I'm not going to go too much into her story as the quest will pretty much do that for you. First things first, let's start off with her abilities. First off, we have her talent. I'll put her entire ability up on screen for you to read, but I'll mostly be summing up the ability as a whole throughout this video. Starting the battle, Numby is summoned. It normally has 80 speed as default and will launch follow-up attacks on targets afflicted with the Proof of Det status effect. Numby is also advanced forward whenever somebody that's inflicted with this Proof of Det status effect is hit by an ally's follow-up attack. So her skill is what inflicts people with this Proof of Det status condition. And this status condition essentially puts a mark on a target, and any follow-up attacks done by Numby or any of the allies in your team are increased by a pretty significant amount. If you somehow aren't able to use the skill that turn, no worries. Proof of Det will still be inflicted upon a random target, so that's good. In addition to the Proof of Det mark that the skill gives, it also does a reasonable amount of fire damage, scaling with Topaz's attack. So as you can imagine, the synergy with the other follow-up attack characters in the game are going to be pretty high, considering that they benefit from her skills damage increase. Next, we'll go over the ultimate. The energy needed to use it is about 130, which is a bit below the last couple characters and kind of in the middle of the pack overall. Anyway, the ultimate has Numby entering the Windfall Bonanza state. He'll stay in this state for about 2 of his follow-up attacks, and while in this state, the damage multiplier for his follow-up attack will be increased significantly, and as well increasing the crit damage along with it. The ultimate is that during it, when an enemy has Proof of Det on them or hit by an ally's basic skill or ultimate, his action is advanced by a pretty significant margin. Her technique is definitely a very interesting part of the kit. It has a lot going on, and not just within the battle but outside of it. Actually, a little test I'm quite interested in doing is if the technique works inside the Swarm Disaster arcade domain / level, because I really want to know if it only stops one. If it only stops one, that'd be okay, but it'd be pretty awesome if it just stopped all of them within a certain radius, of course, not like completely, but I guess we'll see when she releases. Anyway, using the technique will also give it the effect of when you enter battle after Numby's first attack, Topaz regenerates 60 energy. She also receives a bit more credits when defeating overworld enemies, and some extra cosmic fragments, and a small chance of a random curio when defeating enemies in Sim Uni. So that's pretty cool. When it comes to her traces, as of now, of course they can always change, but as of now, she's receiving 12% in crit rate, 22.4 in fire damage boost, and about 10% in max HP. Also, her 3 gameplay changing traces do the following. So the first one will make it to where Topaz's basic attack will count as a follow-up attack. So that means the second part of her talent will proc off of her, if I'm not mistaken. So every time she basic attacks somebody, Numby advances its action forward, which is extremely good. Second one increases Topaz and Numby's damage dealt to enemies with fire weakness by 15%. And lastly, the third one will regenerate Topaz 10 energy whenever Numby makes an attack in the Windfall Bonanza state, which is just really nice for being able to pump out more and more and more of those ultimates. So as for Eidolons, I'm not going to go over them at this moment. I'll put them up for people to see, but I'll be going over them at a later time, just not now. Overall, Topaz and Numby seem like a very strong addition to the game, and also they seem like a must-have for any follow-up attack-based teams. The combos with some of the current characters we have in game are going to be beyond nuts. I'm quite happy to see her come out, and I can't wait to summon for her. Tell me what you think about her. I'm very curious on current opinions, but I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.